Hello, I'm Captain Jack and welcome to the Hangar Bay. On this channel, we take a deep dive into the best starships, technology, and more from your favourite sci-fi universes. Today, we're talking about Stargate's best starship class, the BC-304 Daedalus-class. Following the destruction of Prometheus, this ship design became humanity's go-to for interstellar travel, exploration, battles, and whatever else they needed. Even killing gods, it seems. But what makes the Daedalus-class so good? Remember, for the latest videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think of this ship in the comments below. The BC-304, more commonly known as the Daedalus-class, was humanity's second interstellar starship design, the first being the short-lived BC-303 Prometheus-class design. We've previously done a full breakdown of a Prometheus here on the Hangar Bay, so make sure to take a look at that one following this video. Following the launch of the Daedalus, the flagship of the BC-304 and class namesake, Homeward Command opted to pursue the Daedalus class due to its better design structure and functionality compared to that of the Prometheus class of ships. Whilst you watch this video, we leave you with a question if you're a fan of Stargate. Which ship would you rather command? For myself, I think it has to be the Odyssey. Comment your answer down below. Compared to the Prometheus class design, the BC-304 differs significantly, both in technology and design. The Prometheus was originally constructed by reverse engineering Goa'uld technology, along with also salvaging equipment and eventually being upgraded by the Asgard with their far superior technology. This all changed with the BC-304. Humanity opted to incorporate Asgard technology in the Daedalus class design. As such, all ships were fitted with Asgard shields, sensors, transporters, and intergalactic hyperdrive technology. The BC-304 class is measured at 650 meters long, with a width of 367 meters and a height of 135 meters. This makes the ship roughly the same size as a Wraith cruiser. It should be worth noting that the Daedalus class size has been a constant debate within the Stargate fandom, as the ship was originally believed to be 200 to 225 meters long. We'll explore this more in our behind the scenes section. Stay connected for that. The 304 could support a crew of around 200 individuals, but the ship could operate with just a minimum crew of 4. Armament-wise, the BC-304 initially carried 32 railguns, 16 VLS missile tubes, which in turn could carry a payload of cruise missiles. Dependent on loadout, the 304 could also support Mark III, Mark IV, and Mark IX nuclear missiles. The BC-304 Apollo was outfitted with a special weapons platform called Horizon. We presume Horizon was a converted cargo hold of the Apollo. Power-wise, the Starship class was fitted with Earth-developed Nakoda generators, as well as an Asgard power core. 304s could be boosted with the use of an Alteran 0-point module if one was available. In terms of embarked craft, the 304 could support a complement of up to 16 F-302 fighter interceptors in the hangar bay. The Daedalus class actually had 2 hangar bays, one on either side of the ship. While the F-302s may be the main ships in the hangar bay, the area is large enough to support ancient puddle jumpers as well as Wraith scout ships, and L-Kesh is able to just about fit into the hangar bay. In 2007, the Asgard would finally gift their weapon technology to humanity. This allowed a fleet of Daedalus-class warships to be upgraded with Asgard beam weapons. This proved to be an extremely effective weapon addition to the BC-304 class, as it made it one of the most technologically advanced starships in the Milky Way galaxy. Since 2007, this technology has been incorporated into the base design of all BC-304s in production by Homeward Command. The design of the Daedalus class would be improved on with each new ship and upgraded over time, much like the Prometheus. In the case of the George Hammond, which was completed in 2009, the ship was built as an upgraded Daedalus. The Hammond featured a heavier superstructure around the bridge, bigger 302 fighter bays, and improved reverse thrusters. These new engines allowed the Hammond to land in smaller spaces easier. New railguns were also fitted to the ship. Speaking of landing, the BC-304 class was able to land on planets, it seems. On more than one occasion, we've seen a Daedalus class landing on the pier of the city ship of Atlantis. The Daedalus landed there on its first visit to the Pegasus galaxy, and then the Odyssey landed in the same location upon visiting the city. Based on this, we could presume a BC-304 has a similar landing gear setup to that of the X-303 Prometheus class of vessel. In 2005, the first vessel of the BC-304 class, the Daedalus, rolled off the production line. In common Navy tradition, the Daedalus became the namesake of the BC-304. As such, the class is also referred to as the Daedalus-class battlecruiser. Construction of new BC-304s was a top priority for Stargate Command and Homeward Command, with 70% of the program funding being transferred to the project. Each vessel would cost around $7 billion. The Daedalus was immediately assigned to the Pegasus Galaxy to assist the Atlantis expedition in the now growing conflict with the Wraith. The Daedalus was commanded by Colonel Stephen Caldwell and played a vital role in supporting the Atlantis expedition on many occasions. The ship made regular trips between Earth and the Pegasus Galaxy to re-arm and resupply the city of Atlantis and the expedition contingent over its years of operation. While stationed above Atlantis, Colonel Caldwell would use the Daedalus to aid the expedition in their missions in the Pegasus Galaxy. A notable engagement of the Daedalus was the Battle of Azores. Backed up by the BC-304 Apollo, the Daedalus and the Alliance fleet of Wraith and Traveller vessels successfully launched an attack on Azores and destroyed the planet. By this time, the ship was fitted with the new Asgard beam weapons, and would act as a fleet flagship to coordinate the battle. Colonel Caldwell worked with Atlantis Expedition Commander, Colonel Samantha Carter, to ensure all went smoothly. Following this, the Daedalus would still support the Atlantis expedition for years to come. After Atlantis returned to the Pegasus Galaxy, Daedalus would operate in shifts with the USS George Hammond to support the city of Atlantis in its renewed war against the Wraith. With the Daedalus constantly on supply runs between Atlantis and Earth, humanity needed another ship to defend itself. The second BC-304 was launched in 2006 and commissioned as the USAF Odyssey. Placed under the command of Colonel Paul Emerson, the ship was intended to protect Earth as well as deal with the Aleutian Alliance and eventually the Ori. The Odyssey proved to be one of the most important Daedalus-class ships for humanity. The ship would assume the role of Earth's flagship, following the destruction of the Prometheus in 2006. Her first mission was to bring home SG-1, due to the Stargate system being compromised. This mission proved that the 304s were more than a match for the Gould Hatak vessels. The Battle of P-37229 saw the Odyssey sustain severe damage as a result of its engagement with the Ori fleet during the Battle of the Second Supergate. It was this battle that also saw the loss of the BC-304 Korolev, the Russian Daedalus-class ship, when it was caught between two Ori mothership energy beams and destroyed. The Odyssey eventually makes it back to Earth after another mission of SG-1 on Chulak. Seeking the technology on board, the Aleutian Alliance attempted to hijack the Odyssey. This was unsuccessful, but did cause damage to the ship, as well as the death of Colonel Paul Emerson, the ship's commanding officer. With his murder, Earth officially declared war on the Aleutian Alliance. Following the death of Colonel Emerson, a new commanding officer was installed on the Odyssey, Colonel Ian Davidson. Davidson was relieved of command in 2007. Major General Henry Landry would take command of the ship and take it to the Asgard homeworld of Aurelia. There, at the Asgard's request, the Odyssey was refitted with the most advanced Asgard technology, including new power cores and beam weapons. With the legacy of the Asgard installed, the race committed mass suicide to avoid their knowledge falling into the wrong hands. Odyssey would have to prove its worth, as the Ori relentlessly hunted them down. Thankfully, the upgrades proved very useful in combating the Ori's previously overwhelming starships. Colonel Cameron Mitchell of SG-1 would take command of the Odyssey for a mission into the Alteran home galaxy, in search of the Ark of Truth. In 2009, the Odyssey was dispatched on a secret mission that even Daedalus' Colonel Stephen Caldwell did not know about. This was actually related to the Icarus base establishment. Later in 2007, the USS Apollo was launched and stationed around Earth due to the potential of an Ori attack. While the attack never took place, the ship was eventually tasked to aid the Atlantis expedition in the expanded conflict with the Wraith, which now included the Azurans as well. With the onset of 2009, the Sun Tzu was launched into service by China. This ship would see immediate action alongside the USS Apollo as both ships jointly engaged the Wraith superhive in the Sol system, intending to cut off the superpowered ship before it could reach Earth. Unfortunately, both ships failed in their attempt to stop the hive and were crippled, with the Sun Tzu being left adrift in space. It is unknown if Homeworld Command ever salvaged the Sun Tzu. In the later stage of 2009, Earth completed its 6th 304, launched as the USS George Hammond, which will honour the former commander of Stargate Command, General George S. Hammond. The ship would be placed under the command of Colonel Samantha Carter, a veteran of the Stargate program and its flagship team of SG-1. The Hammond was immediately pressed into service, where it would defend Icarus base and take part in other Aleutian Alliance conflicts. The Hammond would find itself assigned to the Pegasus Galaxy following return of the Atlantis expedition. But how could we forget the Phoenix? In an alternate timeline shown in Stargate Atlantis, the 6th BC-304 ship was named the Phoenix. This ship was also commanded by Colonel Samantha Carter, but would be destroyed in the war with Michael Kenmore's forces. Carter was killed in the process, but thankfully, this was an alternative timeline. As of 2010, 6 Daedalus-class ships are in service to humanity: the Daedalus, Odyssey, Korolev, Apollo, Sun Tzu, and George Hammond. The Sun Tzu is operated by the Chinese government, while the short-lived Korolev was operated by the Russian Federation, before its destruction at the hands of the Ori. Let's talk about the size of the Daedalus class. It's a common debate in the Stargate fandom, mainly as with conflicting information sources. Most recently, an infographic created by Stargate Now, a fan-run Facebook community, was later posted by executive producer Joseph Malozzi on Reddit. This infographic gives the BC-304's dimensions as the one we use for this video post. It lists the Daedalus class as 650 meters in length, 367 meters in width, and 135 meters in height. It will make it around the same size as a Wraith cruiser. This infographic used high-resolution image from renders of Screen Use studio models. As such, all the size measurements are from official 3D Screen Use studio models. However, the original Stargate DVD collection did not reference the Screen Use models for their scaling. This creates a difference in the size and dimensions of the Daedalus. The original DVD seems to suggest the ship class could be somewhere between 200 meters and 225 meters in length. For context, the Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carrier is around 337 meters long. The DVDs for Stargate are officially licensed and considered canon. With Joseph Malozzi's posting the infographic on Reddit, it does call into question which dimensions of the Daedalus are the real and confirmed ones. Personally, I like to think the Daedalus coming in at 650 meters in length sort of adds up with it being the same size as a Wraith cruiser. We see both ships interact on a very close deal in Stargate Atlantis. During the Siege Part 3, a Wraith cruiser attempts to board the Daedalus by flying overhead. You can see here in these scenes, it basically looks like they are the same size within reason. So that's our thoughts on that. The Daedalus was initially imagined as an improved version of the Prometheus. However, art director Peter Bernardus reimagined the Daedalus as its own new class of ship. You may or may not know that the Stargate production team took a cost-saving measure with the Daedalus-class. While it became somewhat obvious, the production team redressed the set of Prometheus to serve as the Earth ship Daedalus. The same set is used for the other Daedalus-class ships, just with a few variations. In 2010, after the first season of Stargate Universe, the set was taken down and eventually dismantled for auction. So, what do you think of Stargate's best ship? Would you rather command a BC-304 Daedalus-class, or do you think the Prometheus-class is worth taking out for a spin? If you want to learn more about Stargate starships, check out our video on the BC-303 Prometheus-class and answer the question, was it really that bad of a ship? That's the end of this video. I've been Captain Jack in the Hangar Bay. Remember, if you're talking about science fiction, we want to hear about it.